Like free stuff? Want free stuff while also supporting this podcast? Then head on over to markromanempire.com and click support. Discover free stuff from companies like Coffee Bean, Uber, and Lyft, plus groovy products and services from all our sponsors. Healthy lists that keep growing. Before you buy anything, make sure your purchases count. Take advantage of select offers while knowing you are helping me record one more podcast. MarkRomanEmpire.com, click support. Want $5? While supporting this podcast, try Cash App. I did. Link to debit card, sent at least $5 via Cash App. Then $5 was instantly added to my Cash App account. Use my code WKXRVBX to support me and earn $5 with Cash App, available in your app store. Sponsored by Vegas 90210, Lieutenant Frank, as hired by a California Highway Patrolman for a CHP Lieutenant Promotion Luncheon. As hired by a wedding party in Vegas to escort bride and groom from limo to the Bellagio. Lieutenant Frank, Hollywood Cap, Beetlejuice, Ron Burgundy, more. The characters of Vegas 90210. Book one today at Vegas90210.com. You know, like the Tory spelling vehicle. Depeche Mode sang, "It's just a question of time. Time for some new podcast." Spreading the news like mayonnaise on toast. Gary, I have a mission for you.
Flux capacitor? Okie dokie. But let me tell you about that time I drove a cab.
Money that's something, chicks that read. I want my Mark TV. First, you're not on TV. Podcast. Now, that is some weird and wild stuff. Did you know that, Ed?
Yes.
Well, Ramen attended Juilliard. I attended Hillsdale. I'm a graduate of the San Francisco Comedy College. I've traveled the Midwest quite extensively. I lived through The Big Short and had a pretty good time doing that. I've seen Pat Robertson jabber about 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. Not to mention the fact that you're talking to a subversive. So what do you think? Do you think I'm qualified?
Oh, well, I think we'll need to pray about that and ask your father.
Shut up, Marilyn! The Mark Roman Empire. Also, a podcast. It's showtime! When I'm with you, baby, I go out of my head, and I just can't get enough, and I just can't get enough. All the things you do to me and everything you said, I just can't get enough, I just can't get enough. We slip inside as we fall in love, and I just can't seem to get enough of my Marioki. I changed my last name, not my first name. That was my Markioki of Just Can't Get Enough by Depeche Mode, because it seems I just can't get enough of Depeche Mode. Which is why I have to have on the podcast today the #1 Depeche Mode tribute band, Devotional Dave, a.k.a. Freddie Morales, formerly of Strangelove, now of Devotional. Oh, hi there. I'm Mark Roman. Mark who? Mark Roman. You know, like the Empire. Depeche Mode dukes it out well with Matt Johnson of The and Morrissey and the Smiths for heavy rotation on my iPhone. Lots to get into with Freddie later. And apparently he's got Erasure, Duran Duran, and more on his tribute tap. Everything counts. I can't shake the disease. I suffer well. Black celebration, indeed. We continue to record here at Jung Records, Jung, Jung Records here in North Hollywood, carefully nestled in the wardrobe houses, car crushing yards, and strip club next door district. And we've got Major Wynn back on sound. How are we doing, Major?
Pretty good. How about you guys?
I can't complain. I can't speak for the listening audience right now. especially since they're going to be listening to this in the future. But I appreciate your concern, Major. I like that about you. I like that about you. I like that a lot. All right. What are we going to do? This is going to be a heavy one for you guys today. Because it's going to be a heavy one for me. It's been in the works. I knew this day would come, but, well, the events of the last week, I think, for a lot of us, triggered a lot of things. This is what it triggered for me. The truth will set you free. Survivors of trauma have learned through bitter experience and what we like to call civilization. That's not true. The truth is dangerous, frequently misunderstood, and frequently the harbinger of more trauma. However, there are moments when heroes step up and give survivors hope. Such a hero, as Sally Field and many others recognized, was Dr. Ford at that Kavanaugh job interview hearing. In the aftermath of that hearing, women came out of the woodwork, calling abuse hotlines to share their own previously hidden traumas. Sexual assault at the hands of powerful men. The hearings triggered my own PTSDs. Oddly enough, not the sexual assault I experienced as an adult. That took a day to even register. Perhaps enough previous PTSDs made the sexual assault against me kind of fade into the background. But then again, I'm no doctor. I just play a nurse on TV sometimes, and I can't afford the kind of health plan that would actually give me a comprehensive diagnosis, let alone treatment. Hey, I'm no Brett Kavanaugh. Too soon, Brett? Are you going to cry? I keep forgetting you, the privileged white guy, you're the victim. Right, Lindsey Graham? Is this what John McCain would do? But I digress. Which of my PTSDs were triggered by the Kavanaugh job interview? My own encounters with the complacency, anger, and rage of white men in positions of power. My father, George Roach, and others at Hillsdale College. Privileged boys attending Hillsdale College. My college roommate and his father, a one-time member of Congress. The Hillsdale College grad interviewing me for a sales job. The federal judge who ruled me a, quote, limited purpose public figure. My brother, frightened of anything that might threaten the military security clearances I'd never have. I'm the black sheep of my family, it would seem. After a decade of attempts to find some common ground, I reluctantly accepted the fact that if I wanted to live my life and to be me, my safety, my sanity, my security, my passion in life required me to divorce my parents and my brother. More on the Dick and Marilyn show another time. Let's just say we haven't spoken in years. I have extended family on my mom's side. I've attempted in my own awkward, unskilled, and unsuccessful way to connect. Some aunts and cousins have been kind, but it's been clear to me that I am an outsider. Technically family, although DNA test, but embarrassing and or difficult in several ways. So effectively, not really family. I was kicked out of college, rejected by the very institution I came to revere throughout high school days of straight A's, that one B+ in chemistry, oddly enough now my honor student son's university major, and all those issues of National Review and the American Spectator I read. Rejected because I dared to seize the day and establish an independent student newspaper, the Hillsdale Spectator. While the college president was raising millions of dollars for that bastion of family, church, and local community that is Hillsdale College. And while he was fucking a wife, not his own, his sons, a wife and daughter-in-law who years later would take her own life, in the Arboretum where I first kissed a girl in college. Suicide like Neil Perry chose in Dead Poets Society. I've yet to take my own life, although I've been in the hospital for what the doctors who manufacture clinical terms, bloated respect in society, and outrageous bills for the uninsured, what these professional medical secretaries of illegible prescriptions, the opioid crisis, and expensive expertise call suicide ideation. More than once. Unlike certain students and faculty on the tiny campus of Hillsdale College, whose ideas manage to find the consequence of action. Action successfully executed. For me, it was not a physical death, just academic, economic, social, and emotional. I was excommunicated from that ivory tower darling of the Reagan revolutionaries, conservative Republicans, and none other than the founder of National Review himself, William F. Buckley, Jr. Hillsdale College. I was dismissed from Hillsdale. Dismissed being the polite term for expulsion. Expelled, not for rape, whether attempted or committed. Expelled, not for drunk driving, as college president George Roach had been caught on multiple occasions, it has been frequently alleged. Expelled, not for snorting coke at the frat house. I was expelled because, as student treasurer, I accepted free student folders without proper authorization from the student government. Ergo, I had committed what the college argued was, quote, tantamount to fraud. An alleged fraud against advertisers who took out ads in the folders, advertising I never sold, advertisers who never sought legal remedies against me. Ever. For an alleged crime I never committed. But Hillsdale College, proudly independent of government funding, needed an excuse to get rid of any independent student press on a campus dependent on the leadership and fundraising of the technically incestuous adulterer who raised millions for the academic bastion of family, church, and local community. Then president of Hillsdale College, George Roach. My signature on a receipt for free student folders was all the smoking gun they needed. So, Brett Kavanaugh. Can I call you Brett? Sorry, I really can't bring myself to call you Your Honor or even Judge. Brett, I recognize your rage. I recognize your entitlement. I recognize your privilege. I recognize your wealthy white pride. I recognize your childish tantrums, cultivated and refined inside a male adult who enjoys enormous power and influence. I've struggled with men like you, and in my own awkward and useless efforts against you, for only my entire life. The rage of my father, an older brother angry at the responsibilities he never chose in a home filled with a younger brother, an alcoholic working mother, and whatever dad of the month happened to be sleeping with my dear Grandma Nellie, Dad's mom. The rage of my own younger brother, convinced he's earned the right to be the older, worried he might lose his precious military security clearances because service in the Marines and Air Force was the price of his college education. My brother and I came from a home ruled by an idealistic salesman who invested in born-again Christian zeal and TV preachers, not his children's college funds. The rage of a college president, furious at the audacious temerity of an independent student editor who dared to seize the day and choose curiosity over obedience at an institution of purported higher learning. The rage of a college graduate and employer interviewing me for a sales job, angry at me for what he took to be my horrific disrespect of his alma mater, and by extension, the authority upon which the white patriarchy he enjoyed has depended. The rage of a former college roommate and a son of a U.S. member of Congress. His rage, not at the treatment of his best friend and college roommate, but his rage at how the ensuing controversies would affect the value of his college diploma in the pursuit of his career. The rage of whoever had the power to place a 19-year-old expelled student editor on the FBI's subversives list. A fact I discovered only when my attempt at processing the trauma of college expulsion led me to the U.S. Marines delayed entry program. I quickly realized I wasn't physically cut out for it and dropped out. Later, my recruiting sergeant, who recruited my brother thanks to me, that recruiting sergeant would reveal to my brother that my not joining the Marine Corps had nothing to do with my choice. It had to do with my place on that FBI list. A fact confirmed by former member of Congress Bill Baker, Republican from the San Francisco Bay Area, and my college roommate's father. How about a commercial break, kids? The Mark Roman Empire, also a podcast, is sponsored by Eladon Designs. There's got to be a better way to travel with your shoes. Now there is. The trademarked Ultimate Shoe Bag by Eladon Designs. Travel your shoes easier. Up to 8 pairs at a time, many styles to choose. To view the commercial and demo video, go to eladondesigns.com. Save 10% when you use discount code ROMAN at checkout. eladondesigns.com. Also sponsored by the characters of Vegas 90210, my singular Lieutenant Frank in women's short shorts and rainbow tactical leg warmers. I fucking love this guy, blurted Bill Burr on his Bill Burr's Guide to Driving Etiquette, Pedestrians. He's a really big dude. He looks really good. He's a lot bigger than me. That's how the OG Lieutenant Dangle, Tom Lennon of Reno 911, described me on the Jeselnik Offensive on Comedy Central. Lieutenant Frank, recently hired by a California Highway Patrolman for a CHP Lieutenant Promotion Luncheon at Bank of California Stadium at Echo Park. So what about your event? Got Lieutenant Frank? Or Hollywood Cap, the Captain America of the Hollywood Avengers? Ron Burgundy, Buddy the Elf, and Beetlejuice, available by special order. I put the I in improv. What your upcoming event truly needs. Book a Vegas 90210 character for your event today at vegas90210.com. Fire your boss and build your empire. A new talk by yours truly, Mark Roman. Whether you are self-employed, work for someone else, or lead a group seeking to make the world a better place, you'll want to hear what I have to say. I'm a subversive. I'm a survivor. I'm a SAG-AFTRA working artist in Hollywood. I was ruled a celebrity by a federal judge years before I ever set foot on a comedy stage or a Hollywood soundstage. Empower yourself. Empower your team. Discover how to innovate doing what you love. In spite of the economy, child custody battles, multiple PTSDs, and those with the power to add a kid to the FBI's subversives list. Doing it all while feeling like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. Just happy to be here. Consider Speaker Mark Roman's new talk, Fire Your Boss and Build Your Empire. I am Mark Roman. For more information, including fee and no fee options, go to themarkroman.com and click speaker. Hey, when's the last time you explored the podcast website, guys and ladies, and those who are yet to choose or have a different option that's more interesting? MarkRomanEmpire.com. When's the last time? Like the podcast, I keep adding to and improving the website week by week. One page you may want to consult on the regular is the support page. Like free stuff? Want free stuff while also supporting this podcast? I got you. Head on over to MarkRomanEmpire.com and click support. Discover free stuff from companies like Coffee Bean, Uber, and Lyft. Don't forget all the groovy products and services from all our sponsors, or my groovy merch, my poem, as well as Lieutenant Frank's citations and headshots autographed. Healthy lists, and those lists are going to keep growing. Maybe you're fixing to buy something or try a new app. You don't even know how the purchase you already planned could at the same time support this podcast. Learn how before you buy anything. Make sure your purchases count. Take advantage of select offers while knowing you are helping me record one more podcast. MarkRomanEmpire.com. Click support. So where were we? Oh, yeah. The smoldering disgust and patronizing disappointment in me from that Christian in Congress, the Honorable Bill Baker, I do vividly recall. His was a quiet contempt that I find uncomfortably familiar from men of God. I was made to feel grateful that he had bothered to place a call to the FBI to confirm my place on that list. To this day, to my knowledge, there has been no Freedom of Information request made by a journalist about my placement on the FBI subversives list. There's been no investigation. My life was turned upside down by Hillsdale College and its supporters. I struggle to accurately itemize the multiple traumas that power my many PTSDs. Look, I apologize if I lack the ambition to make the FOI request myself. One day, when the time is right, if he's still in office, I might ask my member of Congress, Adam Schiff, to investigate. I've met Congressman Schiff at a bowling alley. I like him. I respect him. He was dressed as the dude in a bowling alley, in a bowling shirt as well, from his favorite movie, The Big Lebowski, dressed as the dude. And I respect the guy. He's doing some great work in office. But I got to be honest, I want to meet one of my U.S. senators. Senator Kamala Harris. I'd like her to ask all the white men in power why a 19-year-old student editor was put on the FBI's subversives list. An action that has precluded this Eagle Scout from ever serving in the U.S. military or holding any kind of security clearance, including those required for civilian defense contractors. Not that I've ever been in a hurry to join the war machine, but that size rejection certainly leaves its mark on this mark. But Senator Harris kind of has her hands full right now, don't you think? I feel she is truly making the world a better place. I'd hate to do anything to slow her down, with even a moment's distraction. I guess that's how I feel. I am a car crash of a distraction, an uncomfortable conversation, a problem, a broken shell. Not a person. So when I saw Dr. Ford testify Thursday, even though I'm not a woman and I didn't experience what she did, I felt like in some small but significant way, I understood. Alcoholics have programs. What Dr. Ford is going through, what Anita Hill went through and continues to experience, where are the programs for that? I understand that painful question. There's the concern of journalists who saw an expelled student editor as a paragraph in a gaudy Shakespearean saga of suicide exposing grand hypocrisy on a college campus. Journalists wary of an expelled student editor, desperate and ignorant enough to take the counsel of an attorney and former Hillsdale College department head. An expelled student editor who would make the dubious legal choice in America of suing a powerful college for defamation. There's the choice of a federal judge who decided his only legal option was to dismiss my case against Hillsdale College for defamation on the grounds that I was, quote, a limited purpose public figure, a celebrity, like a Kardashian. Who do you know who's been legally labeled a celebrity by a federal judge? I have. So the theory goes, my right to call Trump, quote, the fake tycoon with the orange shroom, that is the exact same right Hillsdale College had to claim to Vanity Fair magazine that I committed something, quote, tantamount to fraud. But I just need to get over it, right? I heard that quite a lot. The pull yourself up by your own bootstraps mentality that Tony Robbins made sexy. Fucking white guys. I know every woman listening to this right now knows what I mean. Everyone who doesn't look like a white guy knows what I mean. I have a son, busy in college. Yet he finds time every week to video chat with me. In spite of all the homework, honors fraternity work, and other activities that might consume a college sophomore eager to get that right lab assignment, earn the right chemistry PhD, and find the right professorship on his path to possibly be Jimmy Neutron in real life. Or Elon Musk, chemistry edition. He's sweet and generous, even to me, his father. I'm not sure I've earned any of that. I'm afraid of spending time with him, influencing him in any way. I'm frightened I might damage him that same way I was damaged by the anger and rage of a disappointed white man. And so, due to economic choices, the choices of others, and my own choices to do what I would wish for my own child, pursue one's passion in life, my son has had very little of me in his life. Part of me wonders if that protected him from the awful parts of me I'm still desperately trying to manage and purge. I'm a straight white guy who has felt alone living in a civilization ruled almost entirely by straight white guys. I feel alone because my choices throughout my life to embrace what I love, what gives me meaning, what makes my human experience worthwhile, those choices have alienated the very friends and family in my life who claim to love me. The choice of curiosity, the choice of discovery, the choice of seeking out and celebrating the diverse wealth of joy created by fellow humans who don't necessarily look like me, share my experiences, or think like me. I've dared, like Socrates, to ask questions past the boundary of the understood social order, without actually pointing out the emperor is wearing no clothes. My independence, curiosity, and enterprise was threat enough. While desperately seeking acceptance, if not love, I've grappled with the fact that a me I still barely comprehend cannot simply disappear in a crowd. I'm cursed to take the stage, grab your attention, if not a microphone, and pretend it is enough. It's not. But here we are. And my struggles certainly pale in comparison to those we observe in our fellow human beings only every single fucking day. Perhaps what feels to me like struggle, my PTSDs, my rejection by society, my loneliness, perhaps they enable me to more quickly recognize the arrogance, the stupefying defiance in face of the clear clues, the unadulterated bullshit, and yes, Brett, just plain evil of the powerful white men who whine, cringe, and cry like guilty schoolboys on those rare moments they are caught with their hand in the cookie jar. The abuse and crimes I've experienced at the hands of white men in power, perhaps those experiences are why I quickly and easily believe a Dr. Christine Blasey Ford and her accusations against Brett Kavanaugh. Their white racism upsets me. When a buddy with skin that appears to be darker than mine recently shared his concern about an extended family member who was the victim of a crime, I suddenly hear a random white guy in the vicinity ask, "Was he in a gang?" Afterwards, I asked my buddy about what struck me as a boldly racist comment. He replied, "It happens so often, he didn't even notice." My buddy was in a suit, and he works for a Fortune 500 that is also a Fortune 50, has for years. But that's the kind of courtesy and respect he experiences from white guys in 2018. Recently, I watched an episode of Jack Ryan on the Amazon. There's a scene where a terrorist has a flashback to his interview with a major bank in Paris in the early 2000s. He discusses his academic paper on digital banking that anticipates what we all take for granted today with banking apps on our phones and cryptocurrencies. But back then, the white guy bankers whisper amongst themselves about this guy in front of them with a non-European name. They dismiss him as if he were a child on the wrong side of the tracks who is wandering into trespassing on the grounds of the country club. My struggles with white guys in power empowers my empathy for women who happen to be indigenous to what has only been America for a few hundred years. Yet, we insist on calling the Cherokee, the Sioux, the Navajo, the Apache, the Maidu, the Tongva, and all the other tribes. We, Americans, insist on calling them Native American, or worse, American Indians. Because Christopher Columbus and other white guys got to write the history. Meanwhile, the Holocaust of all the disappeared indigenous women in this country, the prey of sexual predators, crimes our society find less sexy than a blonde college co-ed white girl assaulted, raped, and murdered while jogging in Kansas. Indigenous women continue to be less than equal in America in 2018. My struggles as a white guy struggling within a white guy world allow me to look at that all white male wall, a wall of elevated senators that Dr. Ford looked at and faced Thursday, and instantly recognize those senators absolutely do not remotely reflect the demographics of America. You know, next month there is an election. All right, guys. That was a heavy one. Sorry. Kind of had to get that off my chest. Thanks for listening. Fan mail. You can write the podcast at romanpodmail@gmail.com. Perhaps you, dear listener, yes, you, perhaps you can be the first. Wait. I got something coming in here. Let's take a look here. Could this be? I wish you good luck. Green shamrock emoji. I can't date broke. Yeah, I don't think she listens to the podcast. Sorry about that. I think that was the wrong message. Anyway, I'd love to get into this week, the Twitter post at @TheMarkRoman and Instagram post at Vegas90210. But hey, we went a little long here. We'll insert them in the show notes. And we'll get back up to speed on that next week. One thing I will say, though, is I did go see the LA Philharmonic, Herbie Hancock, and Katy Perry in my neighborhood just up the hill at the Hollywood Bowl just a few days ago. That was fun. My buddy, Jesse Merlin, hooked me up with his tickets. And he's busy now playing Dr. Hannibal Lecter in Silence, the musical. Now playing through the 3rd of November at Let Live Theater at the Actors Company here in L.A. Where can you see me next? Will Lieutenant Frank make a cameo on Hollywood Boulevard? It's a great question. I can't wait to find out the answer myself. Lieutenant Frank will be at a single football tailgate coming up on the 13th of October, USC versus Colorado. And then, of course, there's Hollywood Camp on Hollywood Boulevard with Hollywood Avengers, Hollywood Iron Man, and Hollywood Wolverine. There's some other things in the works I'm not at liberty to discuss, but if you like seeing live events in LA, just keep your eyes open, okay? Don't forget, guys, you can listen to the podcast at Mixcloud, where Freddie Morales has his podcast, Podbean, Stitcher, and YouTube. On all those platforms, I am Mark Roman Empire. On SoundCloud, Mark Roman Podcast. And, of course, as always, go to markromanempire.com. That has all the links, plus rolling new grooviness. Keeps getting better each passing day, kids. You're welcome. My interview guest today. We're going to change things up here, all right? It was a little heavy. We're going to go to something super light, which is weird to say about Freddie Morales, because he is Devotional Dave, formerly of Strangelove, now helming Devotional, his latest Depeche Mode tribute band. So, yeah, Black Celebration. It's overcast today. It might rain. But I love this guy. I fucking love this guy. He's involved, actually, with more than just one tribute band. I met him while a character on Hollywood Boulevard. I believe my character, in fact, recognized him, then heckled him. Freddie was bemused. Later, I called him to invite on the podcast. That's easily a 5-minute affair, right? 90 minutes later, if memory serves, we reluctantly agreed to end the call and get on with our day. A fellow performer to audiences, he's like my comrade in arms. Not just because of his Dave Gahan act. I mean, people are people. But Freddie is a mensch of a guy. An amigo fuerte. Familia sin sangre. Look, you guys, you know I don't speak Japanese. Just know that I couldn't be happier to have here in the Mark Roman Empire, Freddie Morales. You wear it well, hermano. Let's talk. Freddie, not with a Y, but with an IE, like Freddie Mercury.
Exactly. Thanks to my parents.
They made a good choice.
See,
I wish I could say the same of mine. But hey, we all get to enjoy what you do. So, hey, let's start. First of all, I'm so happy you're here.
yes, I feel I got home. This is a beautiful studio.
Well, thanks.
It's really nice.
yeah.
It smells good.
I mean, I didn't make the studio, but you know.
No, but
I
it's
got-
the
cool place to
atmosphere that you're
record.
bringing your guests, and I feel very
You're too
nice.
kind.
Nice sound engineer, knows his
Right?
stuff.
Major wins on the boards
This
today.
is a better. This is better than the green rooms I've been. Seriously.
I'm going to take that as a compliment, but as a comic, yeah, there's a
Right?
lot of, green rooms out there at
Yeah,
the
I've
very
been-
high profile establishments that are, I've seen better water closets.
I'm not
you
very
know.
picky as long as there's water and a toilet and a mirror and a faucet I can wash and put my makeup on and
There
and
you
a
go.
hanger.
A hanger. Hangers.
Yes, or hangers.
It's amazing those little tiny details that can like literally make all the difference, especially
Seriously,
when you're like
I've been
5
in the-
minutes to showtime.
And then you have these great green rooms, beautiful room. Oh man, you can have a whole party in the bathroom and all that, but they don't have any hangers. I'm like, what is up with? What happened? Where's the hanger, dude?
You've got a bidet, but I can't hang up my costume.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
What
then
the hell?
I end up hanging it somewhere where it's not supposed to be hung.
Right.
Right. Well.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? Hey, I think we should start.
Yes.
Speaking of what we should do, well, with how we met, which, as I recall, if memory serves, I was Lieutenant Frank, one of my many characters, on Hollywood Boulevard doing my busking activity.
Mm-hmm.
And my Lieutenant Frank's wandering past Tequila, which is a well-known and favorite to locals watering hole in Hollywood. And I recognized you.
You did.
I never met you before,
Wow.
but I knew of the myth and legend
Wow.
that is Devotional Dave because I'm a huge Depeche Mode fan. And I remember seeing on social media, things about your concerts and different things like that. And I'm like, oh, I got to go see that. That's going to be awesome. So I was parked in the back of my head. Meanwhile, life goes on. But then all of a sudden, I see Devotional Dave. So
Right.
What's your recollection of our first encounter?
It was great. You were very friendly, and you gave me a card. It was something about Depeche Mode related.
There was a Depeche Mode.
Oh
related
no,
item
you
on
gave
my
me a
card?
ticket. No, you gave me a
Oh,
ticket.
that's right. Yeah. Oh, Lieutenant Frank does that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Frank gave me a ticket.
Yeah, he does that. Well,
And
it's a
that's-
citation, actually.
citation,
Yeah,
actually.
He
It
would
was
insist there's a
citation,
mild difference.
yes.
Yeah.
And then you called out my name, and it was great. I was like, wow, my friend who was out at the time. Actually, we were leaving from a potential gig
Right.
party,
Okay.
and they were like, wow, you're pretty famous. I go, Devotional Dave is. I'm not. Now, Freddie and Devotion are two different people.
All right. Well, you know what? I really do want to get into Devotional Dave, but I want to talk a little bit about Freddie because the next time I contacted you was a phone call a few weeks ago, actually, to set this up.
Yes.
And I figured it'd be a few-minute conversation. 90 minutes later, we're both like, we do have shit to do today, both of us separately, so maybe we should move on to that. But
Mhm.
it was a very surprising, in a great way, refreshing, artist to artist, mano y mano, just conversation. I mean, that was my recollection of that.
Yeah, it's been great. It's nice to meet other people who are as talented as you are and who are
Oh, stop it.
Oh,
You're too
stop it.
kind.
No, I'm not going to
Too
stop
kind.
it. And it's great. I love meeting other talents. I love it. I've been around entertainment all my life, and I think it's it's a huge part of my life. And when I meet someone else, either an actor or a musician or in the arts, I mean, it's lovely. I just love it because we're all parts. We're all special. Not special.
We're different.
We're different.
Yeah.
Right? We're all just different.
But that's that difference is necessary because for us to do what we do and give what our audience, clearly wants and enjoys, it's
a sacrifice, I've learned. I'm 47 years old.
Yeah.
I started in the industry.
I'm in your vicinity.
Yes, I was
Ish.
Ish. I
Maybe-
say proudly.
Maybe dead on.
I
but I'm
say-
not gonna clarify too much here.
I will. I'm really 40s. Wow. I've learned
Guys
so
of a
much.
certain age.
And it's been
And hey, you look great for your age.
Thank you. Thanks to the coconut oil.
Okay.
Yes. Coconut oil and just,
You're also Latino, so you've
See.
got something that also folks in the Mediterranean
Yes.
enjoy.
Yes. My
Wow.
grandmother, who just passed, she was 100, Mama Cello, God rest her soul.
I was going to bring that up about the Freddie part. Let's talk
Yeah.
about your su
Mama-
abuela.
Yeah, Mama Cello, she was born in Mexico, in Chihuahua.
She was a huge
raised-
part of your life,
Oh,
right?
huge.
How often did you guys talk?
Every day. If
Wow.
I missed, I would, let's say if I missed 2 days, that would be like too much already. That's how close I was with Mama Cello.
There's some people who are like in, committed relationships that don't talk that much. You realize this.
Oh, I've had girlfriends tell me, you call I'm sorry, but you call your mother more than you call me. I'm sorry.
But you're not my abuela. I'm sorry.
My Mama Chelo. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know.
Now you call your machela. What's
Mama
that?
Chelo.
Because yo soy muy gringo. So.
Soy muy gringo. Mama Chelo.
Ayúdame.
She didn't like the word abuelita, which is grandmother in Spanish.
Right.
You know?
And kind of an affectionate.
Yeah, no, affectionate, but
saying
she
it,
just
right?
loved it. It was just much. She was like, call me Mama Chelo. And all her nephews, all of just everybody in the family will call her Mama Chelo. It's like my mom, too.
There's a music to it.
Yeah, and then my mom is Mama Chelin. Because now her grandchildren, they grew up calling Mama Chelo, so now they call my mom,
Right.
still alive with me, thank God. And she's 72 now.
Oh, wow.
She, then
Golden
they call
girl.
her Mama Chelo. I think my side of the family,
Yeah.
they've all lived 89. My grandmother outlived everyone. My dad passed it's going to be 5 years now in December. He died of cancer.
Oh, wow.
77.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, he had it tough. And luckily I was there to take care of him. My father was everything to me. My parents, I've been very blessed to have the parents that I have to support my craziness and being in the entertainment. Now, my father.
But then you were able to kind of take a break from what you do professionally to take care of your family, and were able to return the favor. It sounds like, I can only imagine, right? Which you can't do if you have a typical job, but if you are self-employed,
Yeah, I was very.
it can still be difficult. But like, you have a lot more options to rearrange things to find time to take care of things that are really important to you. Right?
I've always had a full-time job working in the industry, either
Mhm.
and weekends were my band or whatever project I
Sure.
was, and I would travel. But I loved being behind the scenes. I was a production coordinator for 2 major labels in the English and
Right.
Spanish market.
Mm-hmm.
I got to work with the most incredible. I can list of all the famous people that I rubbed elbows with and learned from them.
Oh,
I was just a kid. I was just a kid from Southgate. Growing up,
Yeah.
I went to Stanford Avenue
Okay.
at elementary school. Then I went to Southgate Junior High.
Okay.
Then from there, I was supposed to go to Southgate High, but they had this weird section off about, okay, these kids need to go this section and these kids go, all. I felt like
Sounds like segregation.
yeah, exactly. It was
Yeah.
like segregation in the 80s for the kids. And they either said, well, you either go to Jordan or you go to the Valley. So I went to Jordan, and I forget it. I wouldn't have lasted there in that school.
Okay.
I either had to become a gang member or, hey, what's up? Hey.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go that route. I said, I just shipped my ass to the Valley. And I went to Nobel Junior High
Okay.
for my 9th year. And then for my high school years, I went to Chatsworth High.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was growing up with all the rich kids out there and the big parties, and it was
Beverly Hills 90210
Exactly.
Valley Edition.
Yeah. And then I would come back to my kid, my neighborhood is, hey man, what's up, man? I can't afford a keyboard, dude.
Oh my God. So what's that like being, because I'm from Northern California, so I'm still discovering LA myself, although I love it here. I feel like I'm, I finally found home. But what is it like growing up in LA, and especially growing up in LA as a Latino, because I'm a white guy. So
Yes.
take me to school here, brother.
Growing up, it's been great living in Los Angeles. Los Angeles has given me everything, my dreams, and being.
Why is that? Why do you think it's
Oh my
such
God!
a
I
breadbasket of opportunity for you as an artist?
Because my parents came here, immigrants. My dad was from Zacatecas, my mom from Chihuahua. And my dad came here first and settled and got everything and got our family. I was born in Tijuana.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then I came here when I was 4 or 5 years. No, actually 4 years old. Went to the school.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and then did all that legalization and all that
Right.
process. My dad was a hard worker, and music was always in our house. So I was the entertainer of the family. I would
Okay.
be the one putting the records and doing some
You were
kind of
already
either,
DJing.
Yeah,
Before you even knew
DJing.
that you were being a DJ.
right,
Yeah.
DJing or doing some kind of comedy, because I love comedy too. I was either going to be a musician or a
Oh, really?
yeah, because I just love comedy too. I just make
Interesting.
Love making people laugh.
We're gonna have to talk later because I mentioned something before the interview, but we might have to look into maybe doing some things, some live things that haven't been done yet in LA.
Yeah, and then growing up in Southgate, there was just I hung out with the rich kids and I hung out with the kids who were just working hard to couldn't afford a keyboard or.
So you've seen all worlds.
So I've seen all worlds, and I was there. I mean, I did the whole Sunset Strip, playing all the nightclubs there. The Whiskey, the Roxy, Gazzari's before, and that was in the '90s. So
the
'90s was like the 80s were gone.
I was sad when that happened.
Yes, I was so confused. I grew up with Depeche Mode, Duran Duran. I mean, all that whole '80s,
right?
And yeah, I mean, we DJ'd at a lot of parties growing up, and a lot of my friends were older than me, so they were
interesting.
But they would take me, hey, Freddie, man, music, hey, come over here, and they taught me how to learn how to mix, turntables, 1200s techniques, and I would carry their records or whatever, and I would be going into these parties, house parties back in the day, and there would be 3 kids, 100, 200.
The older kids make sense though, because for both of us, the '80s ended about the same time that our childhood legally technically ended.
Yeah,
it's like you needed that older generation to kind of help you.
Yeah, I had there were two
find the musical pathway.
Two cool guys who were just very dressed into the '80s. They were dressed like, one guy looked like Nick Rhodes from Duran Duran, and
I love it.
The other guy looked like Robert Smith from. You got to wear black, man.
Nice.
Come on, Freddie, let's go down to downtown LA. There was a cool shop called what was it called? Fashions or something, and it was just a huge store, and it was all new wave clothing.
Oh my god!
It was I was in heaven.
You were in heaven. Yeah.
So a friend of mine too took me to my first Depeche Mode concert, and I was at the Rose Bowl.
No.
So that was
the one that's the 101 album.
Yes. Yeah.
Get out of here.
That was my first.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
Because that was my first introduction to Depeche Mode. I came from a very uber religious childhood. like listening to U2 was revolutionary. Let's just put it that way. Okay. And only justified because technically I literally bought my first cassette at a Christian bookstore.
Wow.
And they sold U2's Joshua Tree at a Christian bookstore. Yeah, that's how messed up my childhood was. But it took my college roommate, who came from a kind of well-heeled family, and he just had this insane library of CDs. And that was my, just immersion into 80s music. Depeche Mode, Pet Shop Boys, The Smiths, Morrissey, Erasure, Aha. I mean, who just played here, and I'm really angry I missed their concert because they haven't toured for decades. Matt Johnson's brilliant. But yeah, that was my immersion. And it's funny how it was a singular moment in my life. And going from yin to yang, going from nothing as a Kimmy Schmidt in a basement to wow, all of this.
So going back, growing as a Latino and the whole 80s scene, we ate it up. My older friends.
What's the
would produce,
attraction? Because I noticed we have a mutual friend.
Yes.
Over at Sweet and Tender Hooligans.
Yeah, it's very...
The Mexican Morrissey.
Yeah.
And...
respect that guy. That guy was one of the first.
Jose
Maldonado.
Yeah, he's got a huge... I've been to a few of their concerts, and there's a huge Latino fan base, which starts with Morrissey. Morrissey has a huge Latino fan base.
Huge.
So what's the attraction, would you say?
What's the attraction with the bands? Us being Latinos, and we're passionate about music. It's the passion in our blood. So if we hear a beat or some kind of rhythm, man, and it gets us, we're passionate about it. We want to experience it. We want to feel it. Hey, man, share it.
Right.
And I think that's why.
But it's not just passion. It's a very
we get to vote.
Thoughtful, brooding, intelligent passion.
Right.
Because you look at those lyrics. There's a depth. There's also a simplicity. There's
Well,
a genius to
Come
those
on,
lyrics.
listen to the lyrics of the 80s and listen to the lyrics today. Come on. We were listening to some heavy, heavy messages
Yeah.
in the 80s, but with a dance beat.
Yeah.
And we were like, yeah,
Right.
you know, never let me down. Personal
Right.
Jesus. You know, it's like, what?
Which is easy to dismiss. Like, people look at
More-
Duran Duran and they're
Right.
like, it's a bunch of supermodels.
And today
Hanging
it's
around
like,
bands.
let me grab this, let me grab that. Tu sabes, oye, coña. You know, the lyrics have changed, man.
Yeah, they have. haven't
It's
they?
very thinned out, very thinned out. And
Yeah.
I don't listen to music today.
It's dumbed down.
It's yeah, you're getting just shit. I'm sorry.
I mean, I would have never imagined when I was in college that all this music I was listening to, I would look back on and say, that's intellectual.
No.
Which, and I don't mean that in a patronizing way. I mean that in the culture has slid so far to, people who would read, to people that look at someone on TV and say that's a celebrity because they enjoyed sexual congress with someone who is also a celebrity.
Right.
And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
What book have you read lately? I don't know.
I don't know, but I've been scrolling down Facebook and Instagram, and
Yeah.
I read stuff there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did-
I don't
did
know.
you? Did you?
No, I'm old school. I still like to go to bookstores and smell
Right? The
smell. The smell. You
There's
open
a
up the
texture.
magazine.
It's like you're immersed in it.
Right. I love print. I mean, I did printing. I had a few years working with one of the biggest print companies in LA, printing stuff for musicians. So
Wow.
the smell of paper,
Right?
fresh out of the press. and
Right?
it's like you open it up, you hear that. You're the first one to, opening.
There's there's a romantic ambiance to it that it is just so visceral, and it's triggering a bunch of different senses all at the same time and locks in the experience
The
that
experience of like
Yeah.
reading about your favorite band, smell, having something real in front of you.
even the smell of like this taking the plastic cellophane off the CD cover, or the
everything.
smell
There's
of the
that.
vinyl, or
Oh, that's the smell of vinyl. When you
Yeah.
buy vinyl and you
Right.
slit, the plastic.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right?
that's beautiful. I love it.
As you should. Well, let's get into. You mentioned some big labels you worked for. One that caught my eye was Universal Music Group.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
I started working
experience.
there. I jumped shipped off Sony.
Oh, you were at Sony too?
Yeah,
Okay.
Sony Latin. I got to
Wow.
work with Ricky Martin, Shakira.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I got hired because they had all the pop remixes, and at that time in the 96, 97, there was a radio station called Groove Radio 103.1
Okay.
with Swedish Eagle and amazing
in LA.
DJs here in LA. The
Yeah.
only dance station before the corporate K-Rock. I mean, Kiss FM came and took all that and just said, "Hey, we want to buy this station."
Yeah.
And I started working at Groove Radio, and then from there I got to meet these labels who were, how can I? Like I said, I've had an amazing time in music.
Well, you got to give us a quick
Okay, well,
the
here's
first
a
thing that
quick
comes
one.
to mind, like
First
with either
thing-
Shakira or Ricky Martin.
Here we
or
go.
If not both.
It was both. I got hired. I was working at Groove Radio. They
Yeah.
said, "Hey man, we need a pop guy to help promote these Ricky Martin. We don't know what to do with these." All right. Well, I got hired as their dance PR guy for Sony.
Well, now, what does that mean? What would you do?
They pretty much take these remixes,
Okay.
go to every nightclub and have the DJs and play. Hey, because at the time, I don't know, the club scene is a lot better than today. People actually did dance.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So I would go to
I remember the day the dance clubs died.
Exactly,
Yeah, I do.
right? So I would go to every nightclub, every hot nightclub that would, from 800 to 1,000 capacity nightclubs, and give these remixes to these DJs.
Okay.
And if they would play it, then we would have them, give them something, a signed copy or a limited edition. So I was responsible. I created my own thing for Sony.
So you just inserted the music in the scene.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
was responsible for inserting, the music to all the right DJs to make sure that these people were listening to these remixes and that there
Wow.
was a market for dance music.
That's a powerful position.
Yeah,
to be
and
in.
the one record was Maria, which is a huge record, which was Ricky Martin's. And then during that time, Sony was one of the biggest labels, and they had Ricky Martin, they had Shakira, they had
Yeah.
all these. So I got my experience from working with them, And I got to meet the artists too. I got to work with Ricky Martin. Really nice guys. I mean, the guy is
Well,
just...
give like a moment that you had
We were
with
doing a Sam Goody. Remember there was a store called Sam Goody's
back in the day.
back in the day at the Universal City Walk.
Okay.
And we did an in-store for one of his albums.
Okay.
Oh my God, the line was endless.
Sure.
Just endless. It was an amazing experience.
It's Ricky Martin. Come on.
So the press were there. It was just to be there around him.
It's an event.
It's an event. And then I got to meet his manager. His manager's really nice. And he was like, I was handling all the press and saying, hey guys, you guys see that line there? Do not. If you go over, I had the power to say, you're out of here. And I didn't care who was one of the biggest media.
You got this huge responsibility on your shoulders.
So meanwhile,
you have everyone else
right.
who's desperately, they would kill literally to be in your position.
Right.
But
so the vice
this
president,
is your job.
So the vice president calls me and he goes, Freddie, you have a big responsibility. This is where you're gonna prove that.
Now, this is the vice president of
Sony.
Of Sony, okay.
And all eyes are on you. I was like,
no pressure.
No, thank you. Ricky Martin was the biggest. I mean, he still is, but at that time, he just blew up. But you know what? I was a kid who was I took that responsibility and ran with it. And I ran with it.
You had the energy and the enthusiasm.
And I knew and I respected the power that I had. And
you recognized the moment that was in front of you and the opportunity. And
So then he came in, and after he did his press conference and all that, and all the signing with thousands of people who were there.
Right.
He went backstage. He pulled me aside. He goes, hey, Freddie, good job. I really like working with you. You're the best. And and then he turns around after being there for probably 2 hours.
Sure.
And then he turned around and he said, okay, guys, I'm going to sign and take pictures with all the staff who worked here tonight.
Wow.
Who does that?
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And then I've worked with some other,
guy.
I've worked with other artists who are not, they're the opposite. And I'm like, oh, I like your music, but I don't like you.
Don't you? Isn't that, it's like, I hesitate to meet some of my heroes or people that I love in any of the arts, whether it's music or, film actors, that sort of thing. Cause it's kind of like, I don't want to find out they're an asshole,
That's happened to me 3 times.
Yeah.
And people say, Freddie, have you met Dave Gahn? And I say, you know what? I'm cool. I don't need to.
Yeah.
I've met Martin Gore several times.
I was going to, I'll get to that in a second here. I want to ask you this.
Yes.
Why singing for you?
You know what? I think I've always had it in me. And this goes back to Mama Cello. I remember, I'm going to take you back, being at her house, and I would put her favorite record, which was Vicente Fernandez, Y Sigo Siendo El Rey, and I'm Still the King, which translates in Spanish.
Yeah.
And my grandma would tell me.
I'm seeing the Enjoy the Silence video
exactly,
with
right?
Gahan and his robe and crown.
So I would just sing. And my grandma told me, you're going to be an entertainer, mijo.
Wow.
You're going to do.
And she's huge in your life. So for her to say that to you, it's almost like the queen knighting you and saying, go forth, my son. Yeah. This is what you shall do.
The same thing with my mom. My mom, I think she's always like, her and I have the same personalities.
Really?
Yeah, we're so alike. I mean, we look alike. It's scary. It's just, if I would put my mom.
I can't wait to meet her.
So she also has that music. And that's why my dad loved her, because my dad was the opposite, but my mom helped my dad bring that, hey, loosen up a little, My dad was like that, Mexican, hey,
Fuerte,
órale,
silencio,
yeah.
Just trabajo, and
so
that's it.
Music. But see, I didn't start singing till I was 26.
What?
Yeah, I got into my first synth band, which was called Truth Movement, at 18, after seeing this one guy on stage with one keyboard.
Right.
And singing. I was like, wow. And I joined his band, and I pretty much became like a synth guy, handling all the MIDI components on stage, playing live on stage, and not singing at all. But I learned a lot from watching him, and we had a good crowd. The music was good. He was very boring on stage. Like he really
stage presence.
Yeah,
no
he didn't really express what he was really. I mean, I know there's some people who just go up there and sing. But in this, I mean, after watching Depeche Mode, I'm like, dude, you got to move a little, you got to really interact. And them not giving
So
me
a
that
light bulb went off in your head.
yeah,
You're
so
like,
then
oh,
I was like, okay. And then I had a manager at the time.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I've been in this band 4 years and I think it's time for me to move on.
fair enough.
And I was like, and that's been always, it's chapters. That was one chapter that ended.
This seems like a recurring theme.
It
and for
is.
listeners, regular listeners of the podcast, you'll probably continue to hear this, I expect, fully in future episodes. And that is your representation, regardless of whether you're a musician, you're a singer, you're an actor, whatever you do, your representation is clueless when it comes to the major decisions in your life, for the most part.
Right.
I just keep running into this all the time.
Right.
It's crazy. But they're a tool. They're like, a CPA or a janitor. There's someone you hire. They do it. They fulfill a function in your life. And if you don't realize in your professional life, if you don't realize that they're merely a tool, it's easy to think, oh, well, they're supposed to do all this stuff for me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They're doing a job that's very limited.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you make them money, they're going to be happy. But at the end of the day, there's a bunch of other people that they could do less work for more money for, and they're constantly looking for those opportunities.
Exactly.
That's the reality.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm always trying to perfect the talent that I've been able to, project and what I've learned from other pros. So I want to continue that in the quality of your work.
Right.
And when you are being stalled by other people who either their egos or mostly it's the egos, man.
They got their own agendas, and it doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily
yeah.
align with yours.
there's
It
no
may not even be malicious. It's
Right.
just,
The other day, I think I heard someone say about egos. They say, you know what, there's no problem having your own ego within yourself. But when you have an ego within the group, it does not work that way.
Right. That's
And
the
it's-
death knell for collaboration.
And it's very hard. I'm a collaborator. That's why I was a
Yeah.
production coordinator for major labels. Why? Because I was the middleman telling highly recommended award-winning art director saying, hey man, that poster it's great. I need it by tomorrow. Give me it. But it's not red enough. I don't care. The marketing director thinks it's red enough. I just need it.
If you had an out of place ego, you wouldn't have been given that huge assignment by that vice president at Sony, and
Right.
and the result of that wouldn't have been Ricky Martin going, "Wow, thank you,
Exactly.
thank you, Freddie."
Exactly. There's
Big ego would not have been able to do that.
No, look, and understanding that.
And that said, you do have a healthy, strong ego because you are a front man and you're a charismatic front man, which is, huge ego. So it's like, it's a very interesting conundrum because on the one hand, you have, and anyone who's in anything in entertainment, like by definition, I mean, we do something that is natural to us that most of the human species finds horrific.
Right.
Like Halloween's coming up.
Right.
And the average person's biggest horror, they do studies about this all the time, is public speaking.
Right.
But
God,
add on to that, okay, I'm singing
You're right.
on stage. Like most people are like, not in a million years.
Yeah.
They're literally like, they.
But see, I think going back,
But we love it. We need it.
Yeah,
We have
need
to
it.
have it.
I
So
mean, I'm
talk a little bit about what you find is the juggling balance between having this strong entertainer ego that delivers what your fans want, but at the same time finding the ability to put that ego on the shelf when you're collaborating with other professionals or members of a band or a group or what have you to get the business done. Or
that's a good one there.
right?
Yeah, it's very good.
Because clearly you've done that. So I think you are you're someone we should ask about this.
I think you need to split both. Because when you're in a successful
What does that
band,
mean,
well,
split both?
you get into your character. Like Devotional Dave is he has the ego. Why? Because he is
I understand that.
the front man of Devotional.
Right.
He represents what that tribute band is.
Right.
Okay. So I can easily be that character for 90 minutes, step off and be myself and go, oh, great. That was
Right.
great.
Right.
Lovely. And be myself.
It's like a wardrobe.
Right. And then people
You
see,
take it
wow,
on this character, but you can take it off
you
too.
were great. And I share the success of the show with everybody, not just me.
Right.
because sometimes the lead singer always gets the attention.
Yeah,
It's
right.
always, I've heard it all my life. Always the attention. Yeah, but you know what? I collaborate the success because without
Well,
these
sure.
guys, none of this would have happened. But
Right.
see, with having them makes me a better performer.
Mhm.
And when the people who I invite on stage make me a better performer, I see them having fun, then I have fun, and then I interject that with the audience, and then it's how can I explain this? It's a responsibility when you're up there.
It really is. It really is.
You
I
know.
I understand that.
So
Now, why tribute artist?
it's funny. I got sick of in 2006 the industry was changing, and I just
The
got
music
sick of it.
business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my original music wasn't. I mean, I was like
You have original music.
Yeah, I have original
Yeah.
music. Before I even got into the tribute scene, I was always
Yeah.
doing original music. I've been in 3 projects.
Mhm.
I released 2 albums. One under the name Desvio, which means detour. It's
Oh,
a
okay.
synth pop Spanish band. We did really well.
Nice.
And then I jumped in, and then I got together with another DJ. He was like, Freddie, let's get together and do a techno trance album. And we did that in 2005, 2006. And after that, and I enjoyed being back in the studio and all that, but the tiredness of promoting the album and then dealing with the politics of the labels and just,
Yeah.
you know what? It just,
Gotcha.
it's just too much. I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I just want to perform. Screw this.
Right.
Screw the managers and percent. I'm tired. I just want to go
Right.
out
Right.
and enjoy and perform
Right.
before I get too old for this.
Right. Right.
And I did. I ended up getting a flyer for a Depeche Mode convention, and that caught my attention. So I went to the first Depeche Mode
And
convention.
for those of you who are not the 3 of us, you, Freddie, myself, and Major behind me, our sound engineer, you are currently holding in your fingers a yellow card flyer with black lettering that says the 2018 Depeche Mode Convention, Sunday, November 18th, 6 p.m. till 1:01 a.m. Not 1:02, 1:01 a.m. at Avalon in Hollywood. And it's got the circa 2000, or not 2000, but circa the 101 album, the original 4 boys at Depeche Mode.
Yes.
On the other side, a bunch of extra stuff. I see Richard Blade,
Yes.
who's the host.
He's a host. He's been hosting this since the beginning with Ray, who are the 2 major creators of this.
So this event coming up, this really goes back to the beginning for you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's been a history. Depeche Mode's been part of my life for the past now 8 years. So,
But specifically this Depeche Mode convention here in
Yes.
LA. Okay.
During the crash.
Is that the genesis of Strangelove then, I'm assuming?
Yes, that's
Okay.
when it all happened. I joined to kind of give you the quick history of how I got into the tribute scene with Depeche. Yeah, I went to go see a Depeche Mode band, and I said, wow, this could be better. So, and
Yeah.
then there was some good elements there, but I
Sure.
said, wow, it just caught my attention. And I already being a Depeche Mode fan, I already had samples and stuff that I've collected throughout the years. And I said, well,
Oh, wow.
this would be a great opportunity to use these.
Yeah.
And
You're
do this
ready. You're
if-
prepared.
There's a scene for this. This is fun.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was working at the time too. I was a film editor for another company. And then on my weekends and, days off, I would just,
That's right, because you're a video editor, a graphic designer,
yeah,
a DJ.
Yeah, I did all that. Yeah. So I do that, as I, make more income, and that's what I do. I love editing, and,
Hey,
you gotta-
I relate. It's working artists. It's like it's about the gigs, you
Yeah.
know? Some people have jobs. They have one place they go to get that one salary, and we're just like hustling. I
Yeah.
hate that word hustle because it always suggests something criminal
no,
or,
we're always,
or underhanded or like taking advantage of someone. It's about, having it's like that bowl of candy over there. It's like having all these different little possible options.
right.
And you got to have a lot of them. And some pay well, some don't. Some lead to other opportunities, but you're constantly, it's like a new batch of gigs.
But you know what? I like it. I wasn't used to this kind of gig. Like I had a full-time job, and then
Yeah.
I do music as a hobby, and I was always, but now after it's been 5 years since I just been on my own.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then going back to this tribute scene,
Yeah.
I did
Strangelove.
Sounds a la Mode. No, I created Sounds a la Mode in 2009.
Your podcast.
No, this podcast is funny. I kept Sounds a la Mode because
This is a band.
yes, this was my
Okay.
tribute band.
Okay,
called
so this is
Sounds
the original
a la
Depeche Mode.
Yes, it was
Okay.
a 3-member band. It was
Okay.
just myself, a keyboard player, and a drummer. And I put a visual since I did video. I put the fourth member was video, so I
Okay.
had visual graphics. So we went on and did some shows that caught the attention of the other tribute band. It was funny. Blasphemous Rumors at the time. Blasphemous Rumors. And
I've heard of that band.
yes.
Yeah.
So they were doing it already 5 years into the tribute scene.
Right.
So then one of those members contacted me and said, "Hey, you're the best. I think you have, all the Dave moves and the voice, and
You've got Dave down.
you got him down. I would like to work with you."
Yeah.
And he had Martin
put a
Gore
band
down.
together.
Yeah, let's do a band together, like do lots of money,
Yeah.
make lots of money.
All right.
And yeah, so we started Strangelove. Strangelove was born in 2010.
Okay.
Yeah, 2010. And that was with some other members. And then throughout the ride of that, we ended up changing a lot of members, either a Fletch or an Allen.
Right.
During that course, we were looking for musicians, to also, we were looking for the best musicians too, as well, to be
Sure.
a part of this, because you want the best. When you're playing in front of 300, 800,
Start with good ingredients.
8,000,
Right.
touring the world, you're going from one place to another. And I mean,
What's the biggest crowd you've played to?
the Pacific Amphitheater, that was 8,000. And that was with the Sweet and Tender Hooligans.
Nice.
And then we did it again.
What did Jose tell you that you shared with me when he said something when you guys, maybe it was that concert?
Oh, yes.
You know what
He
I'm talking about?
said, yes, let's see. We're on the right track. He said, "You're your own headliner now." Yeah, that was really cool when he said that to me. He goes, "Freddie, you're your own headliner now. Go headline your show."
What did it feel like when you heard
Man,
him
I got
say
like
that?
shares, like
Right?
to get that kind of,
Because he's huge, Jose.
yeah. And I mean, that guy's been doing it longer than I have. And to see someone, he said, "You know what? It's good to see someone do a good representation of Dave Gahan."
Right?
And you know what? I'm not trying to say that I'm the best. I just have done a lot of research. And when you're doing someone that like a Freddie Mercury or
Sure.
a Dave Gahan or a George Michael,
It's
or
really specific.
you need to really, really
Yeah.
not just. And that's, I think, the difference right now with the tributes. We're now experiences now,
Yeah.
because we transport the audience to what was something back then in the 80s or 90s.
I'm glad you said that, because as a fan, I found I saw Morrissey for the first time at the Hollywood Bowl last fall.
Mhm.
And I mean, Morrissey is a very, by definition, a complex and troubled subject. And I say that with immense love. And I'm sure a lot of fans probably share that sentiment. But I had just a few weeks prior listened to a very abbreviated set by Sweet and Tender Hooligans over at, what's the music shop on Sunset?
Amoeba?
Amoeba, thank you. Because Amoeba will have like bands come in.
Yes.
It's a little like right in the store. There's people like looking at, vinyl behind you, and the band's like right there on stage. It's an amazing experience if you've never been to Amoeba for one of their live concerts. But it was this like short, tight set. And I found myself at the Hollywood Bowl listening to Morrissey, super grateful and excited and happy to be there, but suddenly thinking about that Sweet and Tender Hooligans abbreviated concert at Amoeba just a few weeks back, and I was like, oh, I kind of wish the Sweet and Tender Hooligans were doing this.
See,
right
that's
now.
the beauty.
But it's almost it's not an unexpected thing, because artists they grow and they change, and they find new things that they want to do, and they it's a healthy thing to say, well, that's the stuff I did in the past. I'm doing something new. It's like, I got to imagine, because right now Paul McCartney's got his album coming out, and he's literally like, he was on friggin' 60 Minutes the other day. He's just like full. I mean, his representation clearly, like, open the gates, I mean, I fully expect him to like show up and be on my podcast next week, because he's
Right.
been like on everything.
Wow.
He's just like,
Yeah.
but he he's got this new music that is really important to him, that he puts all his effort into, and he still desperately wants people to love it because it's good. And he'll play this new material, but he knows that everyone's there because of the music he made with the Beatles in those first few years. That's why people love him. And he knows that, but as an artist, he's torn because it's like, and it seems like he's done a really good job of finding that balance, which has got to be an excruciating needle to thread for an artist.
You know,
So, for you, but as a tribute artist, what I, as a fan, experience and really enjoy is that you are capturing, because you love it so much, you're capturing that time, that era. And like when the Sweet and Tender Coolidge play, I feel like, okay, I miss seeing the Smiths live in concert when for that brief shiny moment that they were a band.
Right.
And I miss seeing Morrissey in the earlier days.
course.
But this tribute band, the Sweet and Tender Coolidge, they're delivering that to me. And I'm looking forward to, I've yet to experience you live in concert, but I'm really looking forward to it because it's like, I feel like you're going to make that 101 album, the Depeche Mode, alive for me right now here in 2018. And I'm looking forward to that.
That's my job, and that's why I love doing these tribute experiences, because I really get to sink in and bring back, you know,
with all those little specific
every
morsels and samples
mannerisms
and quirks.
we have everything. I mean, we try. I love it. It's an art of recreating something that was.
You have to love it to be able to deliver.
Oh,
the
you have.
goods
If you're
here.
just
If
doing
you
it for the
don't-
money, forget it. It shows.
You can't
it
mail
shows.
this in. Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of tribute bands out there who go on stage
Yeah.
and they're just doing it for the money, and it just looks it's like,
Yeah.
and that ruins it for bands like us who are really, really.
Gives you a bad
But
reputation.
I think people get it. They see which bands, go out there because they go out and they paid their 10, 15, $20 to go see a tribute band. I'm going to give them a good show.
Yeah.
I want them to walk out and say, wow,
Right.
you took me back to, and I hear it, you took me back to when I proposed to my girlfriend, my
Wow.
wife, or I
Right.
remember when I went to my first concert with my brother or sister, or you took me back to this. And, it's nice to.
I want somebody to share the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Somebody by Depeche Mode.
Right.
Really, Martin Gore. But tell me about Martin Gore, because he. You
my-
haven't met David Kahn, but we
No,
referenced it. You have encountered Martin.
Yes.
Sir Martin.
I met Martin 2010. Was it 2010? He was doing a DJ fundraiser out in Santa Barbara because he lives out in Santa Barbara.
Right.
So a bunch of us went out there and we took the opportunity. We bought a ticket. It was like $100, and that money went through for fundraising for kids.
Oh, cool.
He likes to help his community and, music for kids, and that money helps to buy instruments
Charity
for school
event.
charity,
Yeah.
So it's great. And Martin's really good with charity. He's got Depeche Mode's also involved with the water charity that helps.
Oh, they are. Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
They're very,
Okay.
they don't like to promote it too much because
That's
that's
the
not,
thing that Matt Damon is known for, right?
yeah.
Is that
No,
the same
no,
thing, or is it a
no.
different
It's
thing?
a different one.
Okay.
Yeah. You can go to Depeche Mode and there's a page on
Find the
there
link on-
and
okay.
find it, your charity. And so I got to meet Martin Gore that night. We were just 150 people there, very close, and
Yeah.
just to meet him and see him.
Wow.
And we really had a nice conversation. I didn't expect to have a long conversation with him, but he looked at me, double take. He goes,
How
"Oh,
long?
you look like young Dave." So
He said that?
yeah,
Wow.
And I said, "Oh, I sing in the Depeche Mode tribute band," And
Oh, he didn't even know it. So
He
his
didn't even-
first
right.
first take on you is, oh, you're young Dave Kahn.
Yeah, and there's photos, and
I remember you.
yes. So that was the first time I met him.
Wow.
Very nice, and that was
that's
cool.
a bit of an endorsement, right?
Yes. So then, as we were touring and the popularity of Strangelove came about, of course, he would probably hear about us on YouTube, and
Sure.
we met from people from his camp that, oh yeah, Martin Gore watches you guys' your YouTubes. And
What?
he's so there's a quote where I think there's an interview with him, and he says, yeah, I watch some YouTube videos of these tribute bands, and he mentioned something about me having Dave's mannerisms down, and so I took that, and
That is so.
so it's been great
groovy.
for me to like get that kind of response from the band, well, from Martin Gore,
Well, yeah.
and for them to see what we're doing, because he must be he's blown away at what we do and how we recreate the stage and the samples and all that. And then the
That
third
is so
time,
cool.
I was at the NAMM convention, and I was at the Moog.
Broadcasters?
No, it was NAMM convention every January up in. It's all about music, guitars, and NAMM.
Okay, those are initials. What do they stand for? Take me to school here for a sec. NAMM.
NAMM.
National Association of Broadcasting Musicians? Musician
No,
Broadcasters.
no,
Musical Broadcasters.
No.
Van, I like to buy a vowel.
I should know this, but right now I've been in the studio.
It's all right.
But we'll look it up.
It's all right.
It's a huge convention where all these
who?
of just products of every musicians, drums,
Okay.
keyboards, and
It's a music convention.
in music convention.
industry
Yeah, there you go.
convention.
Music convention, and celebrities go there, and sometimes you
Right.
get Stevie Wonder's been around there. I mean, you get
Cool.
high profile musicians that go there and promote their
Sure.
product or promote whatever they're promoting.
Right.
So Martin Gore happened to be at the Moog station.
Mm.
So I'm like hanging there
Of
watching
course.
this demonstration of this awesome Moog display
Yeah.
synthesizer. And I look to my left, and right to my left is Martin Gore. Right
Wow.
next to me.
Wow.
I look, and then he looks and he goes, "Hey, hi, how are you? Hey, little Dave." He called me Little Dave. So there I am
Nice.
watching this Moog demonstration
with Martin Gore.
with Martin Gore and his assistant at the time.
Wow.
And then I said, Martin, I'm like, oh yeah, nice to and then we talked about, it was funny. We talked about tech stuff. It was great to talk about synthesizer, not, oh my God, because I'm pretty sure they hear it from fans. And it was a nice conversation. It wasn't
Yeah.
a scary conversation.
Yeah.
So I respected his space. And it was, I just took that moment like, this is a moment for you. And Martin
Well,
Gore
yeah.
talking about keyboards
Sure.
in a Moog booth.
You're listening from the master.
Right.
The source.
Yeah, we're talking about
Yeah.
frequencies and stuff. Oh, and then he also DJs, and we talked about the tractor system that I use. Do you find this? And it was just like he's
just doing banal shop talk.
right. And it was awesome. So I asked him,
Insanely valuable shop talk to you, I got to imagine.
Totally.
but
I was like,
yeah.
I have that same problem.
And he
Martin."
probably appreciated being the celebrity that he is instead
Yes,
of having to deal with, as much as, one loves fans
right.
as an artist, the fact that he could just have this plain, dull, ordinary shop talk conversation with a fellow musician
Yeah.
who is talented and knowledgeable, and it's a intelligent, creative conversation.
Yes, so that was great. And
It's
then
useful.
I asked
That's-
him, I said, Martin, do you mind if I take a selfie with you? This would be great. Oh, go ahead.
Nice.
I took the selfie.
Yeah,
And then we hung out for a while, and then we disappeared. I went on my own.
sure.
I posted it up on Facebook.
Yeah.
Right away, it got picked up by the Mirror UK. It was the
What?
magazine. Yes. And there I am. And you can actually, there's
The
a
Mirror
Yes.
in the United Kingdom.
Yes.
That tabloid.
A tabloid. Tribute band singer Devotional Dave meets his, Martin
Idol.
Gore.
Yeah.
And it was just awesome. And there you go.
Wow.
Circulate out. There I am in the world
So
news.
you've been in the mirror.
I've been in the mirror.
Freddie Morales is seen in the mirror.
Yeah, and then
I
the
love
other
it.
times I've been I walked into the bathroom, and then he walked in, and we actually took a piss. No, I haven't shared this story, but because it was hey, I know I'm not going to shake your hand after this, Marty. Yeah,
That is
so I've had some really
hilarious.
cool encounters with Martin
Wow.
Gore.
Martin.
But Dave, no, I actually was 10 feet away from Dave gone, and
Really?
that was at the Jimmy Kimmel. And everybody was like watching me, like, is Freddie going to meet
Wait,
Dave?
Jimmy Kimmel. Oh, he's that guy. He has a podcast, right? Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel's he's a host in Channel 7.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's got a show.
I'll look into it at some point.
Yeah, he's got a show, and I think he's a fan of Depeche
I mean, he seems
Mode.
like he's that man show guy, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
He might turn into something someday.
You know,
I think if he'd like hung around and actually listened to Sarah Silverman for a minute, maybe he'd be doing more than just a little podcast. I don't know.
right.
Like maybe someone needs to really help him and maybe get him on Ellen or Maury Povich.
There you go.
Nothing builds a
Yeah.
career like Maury Povich.
Exactly, that
Enough
guy.
about the Jamie Kimmelbach or whatever his name is.
So
Let's do, because oh my God,
We went all over
this
the
is going to
place.
go
we
forever,
went all over the place, right?
and this is sped by so fast.
I know.
I knew it would,
I know.
but if we can tie this up with a nice little bow, you have relaunched as Devotional, and you also have more than one tribute band that is under your umbrella. Describe the umbrella, describe the bands, and then we'll wrap up with the Depeche Mode convention.
Yeah, I actually now, starting the beginning of the year after my separation with Strangelove and the agency, I just decided to continue with the Depeche Mode.
Now, you haven't
call.
shared this with anyone else, so this is
No.
an exclusive on
Yes.
the Mark
I'm not-
Roman Empire, also a podcast.
Right, I haven't talked about it. Everybody's, talking about what happened to Strangelove.
Well, thank you for sharing with
Of course,
with me.
the boys are doing their thing and I'm doing my thing now. So, and that opened a lot
It
of
happens.
opportunities. And I created Ultra Tributes, which is a home base of my favorite bands. So now I have a Depeche Mode tribute, a Erasure tribute. We have a Duran Duran tribute band. Under
Kind
that.
of doing a Quincy Jones thing a little
Why
bit.
not?
here.
I just saw his
Yeah.
documentary 2 days ago. Amazing man.
Yeah, I heard an interview about it. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, so watching him and at his age and still out there pushing new artists and doing his
I
thing.
think he was being interviewed by Kim Masters for KCRW's The Business, if
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
not mistaken. Yeah.
So being just the motivator that I am, I just
It's brilliant.
created this in a matter of just
You got
Yeah.
Erasure, Duran
Yeah.
Duran.
yeah. And now
What
I'm
else?
also working on the Latin tribute scene, which now we have a tribute to Gloria Estefan and Miami Sound Machine,
Oh,
which is
wow.
called LA Sound Machine.
Nice.
Also decided to do a Ricky Martin tribute, Enrique Iglesias.
Okay.
And we also now working with a J-Lo singer who her name is Connie Pena.
Okay.
Amazing, looks like J-Lo. And
Wow.
I'm working on putting her show together under the Ultra Tributes. And it's fun because I get to not just do just one thing. I love doing what I do
You're
with Depeche Mode.
collaborating.
But I love collaborating. It keeps
It's like a live DJ. Instead of
Yes.
like reaching for a track, you're literally, here's this live group that does this so well.
Yeah, so it's everybody, and the amazing part, everybody wants
You've
to
elevated your curation game.
Right.
Freddie Morales.
Hey man, I'm still, like you got to live it every day like it's your last because you never know. I mean, the way the world is today.
Well, hopefully it won't be my last, but it will definitely be my first Depeche Mode convention
Yes.
2018. Let's
gonna
wrap up the bow on that
Yes.
here.
So I'm
What
inviting
is that?
That is a convention that's been going on for now 8 years, and I've been very, very happy and still being involved
Okay.
in the project and in this event. Richard Blade is going to be hosting it with some great DJs, Alec Transistor and Stephen Wayne, Lovely, and others who, these are the guys who keep this convention. And pretty much it's
Nice.
a bunch of fans. Who come. That's how I met my girlfriend.
Oh, really?
Yes, I met her at the convention. She was there with her boyfriend at the time, and then she saw me. We were singing Higher Love. She said, "When you sang Higher Love, that's it. I needed to check out and find out." And I love her. Her name is T. And that's
I saw
a
T at the what is it, the out, what is it called, where you perform a lot? locally?
the offbeat bar.
The offbeat, where
Yeah.
you gave me
Yes.
very generously. I wasn't expecting that. I was like, I want to buy a T-shirt. And you're like, here, just take it.
Take it.
Which I wore on the podcast.
I know
last
you do.
week,
It
so.
looks a nice fit too. It looks good.
Yeah, thank you. I know. I thought, wait, this is a small. I'm like, well, okay. So I
Yeah.
guess it doesn't. My one pack I got to subdivide down there wasn't showing too bad. So
So it's Depeche Mode convention, and
it's really cool to have the person you love be supportive.
oh my
of
god,
what
if it
you
wasn't
do,
for
isn't it?
her, I probably would have been doing something else. She's been the star of keeping me alive, and as far as like being out and entertaining people, she really does. I really have to thank her for
It takes a really
It does.
generous spirit to be able to do that because she's sharing you with all your fans, and those fans, are going to express themselves in a variety of ways, and I can imagine it can be taken,
It's all she understands, and then she's a great hairstylist. I mean, we have a really good relationship. It's like we have she keeps me going, and with the project with Depeche Mode, she's also a big, huge fan of Depeche Mode, and
that certainly helps.
So Depeche Mode convention, November 18th on a Sunday, 6 o'clock to 101. Richard Blade. There's gonna be two bands.
I finally got it now. Jesus.
You've got
It
it.
took me a while.
Took you a while, right?
Jesus. Yes.
Richard Blade will be
101,
hosting, and then we have a band from San
That's at
Francisco.
Avalon, right? In Hollywood.
Avalon, which used to be the Palace.
Okay.
Yeah. And we'll be headlining the show, and we have a nice set list.
I can't wait. So as my first experience of you performing live, do you feel like that's a good first? Okay.
Yeah.
No pressure.
No, I love that stage. Are you kidding me? The Avalon, that's the Palace. That stage.
I've never been. There's so many things I've yet to do. I'm still making up for the first 2 decades of my life where I wasn't listening to music. Do you understand this, Freddie Morales? I need you to help me.
That's why I'm bringing you out to the events. The events I DJ with, at. That's where you come out, and get to learn the scene. Because we're keeping the scene alive, man. Hey, we're the last generation to keep in the 80s.
Right? There's a lot of good stuff. I mean, I know there's crappy stuff. We know.
There's crappy, but there's good stuff out there.
There's a lot of good stuff there. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that we should have held on to.
Let me give out the for tickets.
Yes. Where do people go?
Musicconventions.com. That's for tickets for the convention.
Musicconventions.com.
And then if you want to, find out about what I am doing, ultratributes.com.
ultratributes.com for everything Freddie Morales,
right?
Devotional Dave.
You can find that on Facebook and all that good stuff.
All the other tribute bands that he has corralled together in
Thank you
his
so
growing
much.
empire.
Thank you for inviting me
For
here.
what?
Inviting,
Are you kidding me?
To chat.
Thank you for being you, doing all that you do.
You got me out of the studio. I'm always, in there.
I brought you to another studio.
I love it. I see, but I'm going to someone else's studio. That's what's good.
I get that. I get that. I know. I need to start visiting some other podcasts myself.
Yeah.
So, Freddie Morales, love you, brother.
Love you too, man.
Depeche fucking Mode.
That's right.
Freddie has got to be my brother from another mother. I love that guy. Don't forget, guys, we'll have it up in the show notes too. The Depeche Mode convention, Sunday, November 18th, 6 p.m. till 1:01 a.m. I finally got on board with what that meant. It's been a crazy week, guys. That's at Avalon in Hollywood. Oh, I love Freddie. There might be some cool things. I don't know. We'll see. Freddie and I are going to be talking about some possibilities for the future. We will see where that goes. But we might be able to hook you guys up, our podcast listeners, for some groovy Devotional Dave stuff. Stay tuned. Show notes, as I mentioned, will be at markromanempire.com. We'll have all our links there, other groovy stuff mentioned. Your patience with that process is noted and appreciated. You can listen on Mixcloud, Podbean, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and YouTube. Please follow, like, and share. That really helps. You guys have been doing that. Just keep doing it. It really helps. More platforms like Bullhorn, Spotify, and yes, Apple Music, which used to be iTunes, in progress still. Working a little bit every week, guys, trying to make this a better podcast for you. And discover how to support the podcast and claim your free stuff at markromanempire.com. Click support. Book Lieutenant Frank or other characters at vegas90210.com. Fire your boss and build your empire. My new talk for groups. Go to themarkroman.com and click speaker. All groovy ways you can support the podcast, because no empire was ever built without a little commerce. Want special deals? Join my mailing list, the Mark Roman Empire Census. What kind of deals? Well, last week, Census members enjoyed 2-for-1 on the legendary Lieutenant Frank headshot, autographed. What deal will it be this week? Well, whatever it is, it will only be available to those of you included in the Mark Roman Empire Census. To join the census, go to markromanempire.com and click Census. Twitter at @TheMarkRoman. Instagram, as ever, at Vegas90210. You can email me at the podcast at romanpodmail@gmail.com. Wow. What a week. Am I right? I mean, in the world, for me personally, wow. It just, it's been a groovy mix. A black celebration that exudes a lot of light. But then that's kind of how my life's been. I like it. It's good. Farewell until next week. Remember Clownolin and Prince St. Paul. I am Mark Roman.